So I had a subscriber refer me to this particular article, so I want to speak to it. It's in the Washington Post, and it's called "In the Juul Room: E-cigarettes spawn a form of teen addiction that worries doctors, parents, and schools." And it's a Juul product. This is July 26th, 2019. When her son was a high school freshman, Kristen noticed a change. The hockey player began getting gassed more easily on the ice. Blank, we'll just say Kristen because I cannot pronounce that. Kristen could hear her sons coughing and wheezing from the stands, but it was his demeanor that scared her most. Cade, anxiety, and mood swings worsened. His outbursts so sudden and so explosive that his mother said she came to fear him. It took more than 3 years and help from a renowned pediatrician to understand what was going on. Her son was addicted to nicotine, delivered by a Juul, a sleek e-cigarette that looks like a USB drive. As e-cigarettes have skyrocketed in popularity among teenagers in the past 2 years, pediatricians report seeing teens who behave less like tobacco users and more like patients with substance abuse disorders. Now, that's a very good point. I mean, back in the day when you smoke combustible cigarettes, even now, the symptoms are much different than those, especially vaping on nicotine salts at 50 milligrams. It's like a drug. Very, very good point right here with the substance abuse disorders. Some young people have resorted to stealing from their parents or selling e-cigarette paraphernalia to support their habits, addiction treatment specialists said. And even though many teens assume e-cigarettes are safe, some turn up with signs of nicotine toxicity, a condition previously seen in young children who accidentally ingested nicotine gum. Others are reporting respiratory problems. After more than 3 years of vaping daily, Cade was diagnosed with restrictive lung disease. His mother said she is working with an attorney to file a class action lawsuit against Juul that would force it to set up treatment centers. They should have been setting these treatment centers up for some time. This thing goes on for a while, so I'll just pause the page and you can read it. Says doctors said they believe the behaviors of teens addicted to e-cigarettes could be linked to their design. Many products, including Juul, allow users to ingest far more nicotine than they would with traditional cigarettes, which is very true. I mean, nicotine salts at 50 milligrams is a whole. If you just do the one pod of 50 milligrams of nicotine salt from Juul or whatever company, it's one entire pack of cigarettes. And you don't really even know it's going down. Can you imagine smoking a pack of cigarettes probably within a couple hours or whatever it is? I don't know how many hours it takes for a teenager to vape a pod of 50 milligrams of nicotine salt. It's got to be incredible. I mean, I can go through a 30 mil in about one day, about that, maybe 2 days tops. So that comes out to 15 mils. I think there's only 1.7 mil in one of those pods. You could vape that down in probably a couple, 2-3 hours, a kid. Can you imagine smoking 20 combustible cigarettes in 2-3 hours? Holy crap. And these are young people with develop their brains and their lungs and everything about them physiologically is developing. That's why it's a major problem. A lot of you guys can't handle that, but it's the truth. With the Juuls, kids are able to get a much higher dose of nicotine, and dose matters. These kids have behaviors that we often see in patients who have opioid or marijuana addiction, but we didn't typically see with kids who develop addiction to traditional tobacco cigarettes. This week, a House subcommittee accused Juul Labs of targeting, and we've been down that road already. I don't have to worry about that. Of course, Juul defended. Yeah. They'll be spending all their money defending themselves now. It says doctors say teens consume e-cigarettes at far faster rates than they do traditional cigarettes, with some consuming a pod or more a day. That's 20 cigarettes a day. It's crazy for a kid, you know. I don't think any of my kids, any of my friends back in the 1970s smoked. Like I'm thinking in terms of being under the age of 18. Smoked a pack of cigarettes in one day. Most of them smoked maybe 10 cigarettes at the most, maybe 8, somewhere in there. That pack a day habit didn't come till later. You could read some of this. It affects the genetics, trauma, peer behavior. All this stuff is the factors weighing in on why there's a strong attachment to these products. You could just read that. I just want to get to the gist of each area of this article. Many teens report that vaping has maneuvered its way into school life and adolescent culture in the form of jokes, memes, and lingo. I don't know how to pronounce that. Teens say their peers sometimes refer to the bathroom as the Juul room and nod to the frequent sight of teens passing around an e-cigarette in school bathrooms, and videos of students pranking their peers by passing a USB drive instead of a Juul circulate on teen social media accounts. Words such as ghosting, which refers to holding in a Juul puff to absorb more of the nicotine, and Nixick have become part of the teen lexicon. And I'm sure Congress eventually is going to pass it to 21. That's practically guaranteed. And desperate school administrators have banned USB drives because they're indistinguishable from Juuls. Others removed bathroom doors because teens were regularly gathering there to vape, and some have even started searching students. And that I did a video of this already, and that they have to be careful how they do it, but that is permissible under the Fourth Amendment according to the U.S. Supreme Court. Some students were suspended more than once from the Lincoln Charter School in North Carolina, but they see that's not really doing good as far as the punishment, so they're going to they're contemplating mandatory education on the perils of vaping, because they think when they're suspended, they go home and they vape. So what's the point, right? This is a good article. That's why I decided to do a video of it. I appreciate the subscriber that got me to read this. At home, he grew erratic, sometimes punching walls, destroying furniture, or throwing things when he was angry at his parents for confiscating his e-cigarettes. He once kicked down the back door of his house when his parents had told him to go outside to cool off. So Luca, this is Luca right here. He looks like a cool kid too. Addicted to Juul, lovely. I just, all I can hope for Juul is they go out of business. And he said I became very explosive. He's only 16 years of age. I'm sure he was younger than that when he started juuling. And then it goes on a little bit more. See, they also in the Martinsburg High suspended 27 students in the just completed school year, 20 more than the previous school year in connection with vaping. The school's resource officer also gave out criminal citations to many of those students under the state's ban on tobacco on public school campuses. And these criminal citations, kids probably won't go to prison or anything, but they're definitely going to get fined out of the wazoo. And so in this high school, if students caught a second time, could be suspended for 5 to 10 days. The school is re-examining how it disciplines students and considering revamping its approach to teens caught vaping at school after the principal noticed many repeat offenders. So they just went home, vaped some more, and came back. And they're actually naming these schools off. It's not like they're, fake news, like people would say. This is fake news. And you see, spend hundreds of dollars feeding a habit that costs them up to $5 a day for these, for the pods. So it says, we kind of lost 4 years of Cade to this addiction. Now that he has cut back, he just seems like a different kid. You can't help but say there's a correlation. So 4 years on Cade is, I'll bring that up here. They're probably in high school. It doesn't really say how old he is now. Let's see, this is Cade here. See, another good-looking kid. I would say probably, say 17, 18. So he probably was about 12, 13, maybe 14 years old when he was started to vape the Juul. And that time's just about right for the 2015 Vaporize campaign that Juul did. It all ties in, believe me. You wait for this Connecticut Attorney General that I just did a video on. They get all those papers back from Juul. It's going to tell a very complete story. It's not going to look good for Juul. Anyway, I do appreciate the subscriber for sharing this with me. And I've always said, if you guys have any articles for me to take a look at, I will. And if I believe that's pertinent to the situation and needs to be spoken to, I'll certainly do a video of it. And on that, you guys have a good one. Bye.